Welcome to Tinfoil and Tail Flips, the weekly Guild Wars 2 podcast presented by GameBreaker Nation, where we talk about the various theories and tantalizing topics of the week. My name is Jonathan Zlanchek, better known as Deo over at Guild Wars 2. We have a lot of fantastic information to get through today, including Tangled Paths has dropped. There's been a little bit of mixed reviews. PvP changes are coming to Tyria, and ArenaNet is hiring an engine programmer, and much, much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow hosts. Up first, say hello to Aaron Heath. How are you doing today, sir?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Can't complain, can't complain. And also, back as always, say hello to Roy Lindlau.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Going to do this again this week and see how it goes. All
right. If everybody's ready, let's jump right into it. First, we're going to give a brief overview about the Tangled Paths update. This will contain a little bit of spoilers, so if you just be mindful about that. But let me give you a brief overview if you haven't been following along. Basically, since Scarlet, that's her name. Sorry, it's been so long. We've missed her so much. I hope she returns somehow. But basically, since Scarlet has died in Season 1, Mordramoth is beginning to awaken, and our heroes that we have gathered with us, which has been kind of termed as Destiny's Edge 2.0, which is Marjorie, Casimir, Bram, Rox, and Timey, and then us as the boss. We are now taking the fight to Mordramoth, and is Mordramoth a male or female? But that Elder Dragon.
Gender ambiguous.
Yeah. So in the last patch, Echoes of the Past, we discovered that the Master of Peace, leader of the Zephyrites that we have seen in the past, kind of show up, but now they're playing a more heavier role, possesses a dragon egg. And I believe we found that out in Glint's lair that they brought back, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Now we're basically after the Master of Peace, who has disappeared into the Maguma Waste, and we are basically on a mission to protect the egg. Weirdly, not so much him, but an egg. But overall, what's your guys' opinions on it, Aaron?
Okay, so I thoroughly enjoyed this week's story. It was a little short. I will say that the last patch seemed a lot longer, a lot more fleshed out. But I think a lot of that is due to the fact that they added a new zone in that patch, which I kind of think of the new zone as an addition to the entire season rather than just that patch. So I try to take it just on the story, and it is a little shorter, but I thoroughly enjoyed what story there was and the twist at the end. I thought it was great.
Roy, what are your overall quick thoughts of the patch as a whole?
As a patch as a whole, I thought it was pretty decent. The amount of content might have been a little light, but I kind of balancing that off of the first, the first installment for the season. We got a whole lot last time, guys. That's not going to happen every time. So, it's a little light. I also took my own advice from the last show. I ran this as solo rather than try to do it with a group. It's nice to solo. It's actually challenging as a solo. The extra people that come into it, it does level up some, but it does take away some, to me, it takes away some of the fun of the actual the content. The more people do it, the easier it kind of does, it gets to go through the labyrinth and stuff. Other than that, though, my overall feeling was this was a great expansion, a great addition of content.
Use the E word.
And yeah, no.
The expansion.
I'm trying not to, but it was actually really a good deal of content. And like I said, relative to the last one, the last patch we got, it was light, but still, it did really well for what it was.
And one of the things that you both did say, which is a concern on the forums, is that the content did seem a little short. And I would say, personally, going off of what you guys were saying, it does definitely feel too short. But compared to the other stuff that we've gotten so far, how are you guys sitting with that? You touched upon it a little bit, but was it something that would drive you away if with the length that it was?
Oh no, it wouldn't drive me away. I just hope that in the next few patches they were kind of taking a little bit of a break. They put a big push on that 2 weeks. Now they're coming back to it and saying, okay, we're going to go down and drop the content just a little bit. You got to remember too, they added some maps with this. So we're not only saying that the story, but there was two new maps or 3 new maps with it, because we could go to the upper edge of the main map through the Skritt hole, and then we got the labyrinth.
Well,
and I'm trying to think.
The Skritt hole leads to that waypoint that's luckily closer to, I believe it's the Amber Fort, which really helps with the issue that people were having last patch of not a lot of people were going to that one since it was so far away.
Right.
I think it was just that little. What's that?
Since you couldn't farm there anymore.
Yeah. I think it just added that little outpost, and underneath was the labyrinth. So I don't think it added anything to the top corner.
Let's not confuse people. They didn't add new maps. They simply expanded the Silver Waste map with an underground area and a little kind of cliff shelf up to the side.
Right. So but that's still it's an expansion of a map. Now that you don't have to count the Silver Waste, but the underneath side, I would count that as a new map that they opened. It might have been there since the Silver Waste was there, but we didn't get to see it until just now. So that's other content that the labyrinth to me is actually an additional map.
Well, I was gonna say they definitely expanded a zone, however you define map or zone, whatever. It's not a new map that you zone into. But I mean, what do you guys think with Dry Top and this one? They definitely seem to be playing with that whole vertical. Then other games have the horizontal, kind of you don't have that many dimensions to it. So how do you guys feel with Dry Top and what they're doing with the Silver Wastes?
I think it's a really good idea. Oh, go ahead.
I like the idea. Yeah, no, I was going to say I like the idea of it. I just think that by limiting or by adding verticality to it, a lot of people will feel that they didn't add much to the map, just like you guys. You're like, well, they didn't really add a map. Well, yeah, they actually did, but because it's within the same map, people don't think of that.
Well, the labyrinth isn't really big enough to be classified as a new map, I don't think.
I would argue because I would say it's on par with what we saw from the Mad King's Labyrinth. I mean, it's just a little map where you can run around. I mean, if no one has played it, it's basically in the open world Pac-Man. I mean,
that's what it comes down to. It's a fun little map. It's a fun little game that they've installed within the game, and it's fairly rewarding. It's as a single player going through the story, it's nicely balanced, so you can actually do it and still feel challenged. And when you go out into the real world to play it with a group of people, it's a lot of fun. You're Pac-Man. They're trying to get you.
Yeah. Aaron, you wanted to say something about it, or?
Well, I just think that it can't really be counted as a new map. It's an expansion upon the Silver Waste, and it gives it more depth, but it's not a new map. As far as adding verticality, like a z-axis to expanding the maps, I love this idea. I love the idea that each map could have multiple layers to it that exponentially increases the amount of content that they can put into the game. So I really enjoy the potential that gives the game.
I mean, yeah. I mean, just wait how vertical they can get once they add flying mounts, right? Right?
Yes.
Oh God.
No, please no mounts. God, no.
But I mean, sticking with the story in general, a lot of people have complained that the story that they gave us for this 2-week update wasn't very good so far. Aaron, what are your opinions on that?
First of all, I thought it was excellent. And I think the reason a lot of people didn't think it was that great is because it was short. I think that's people's main complaint with it, is it was short, so therefore it wasn't very good. That's not true. There's plenty of short stories in literature that are excellent, and they're short. This is a good example of a good short installment. The twist at the end, I loved it. A lot of people had a problem with it because they thought it was predictable. I actually thought it was predictable. I think a lot of people had a feeling this was going to happen, but I don't think that's a bad thing because it hinges on speculation. And since people's speculation turned out to bear fruit, as it were, that encourages speculation, and speculation within the community is a good thing. It builds buzz about the game. It makes people care more about the lore. So all in all, I think this was a exquisite story patch. Not as good as the last one. The last one was above and beyond the Call of Duty, but this one was very good. I still thoroughly enjoyed it.
Roy, what's your opinion on the story?
I table flipped. I am just so... I just table flipped completely. When she took off with that egg, I was like, what the hell? Trust me, I'll be back. See y'all later. I'm like, no. This is not correct.
Don't you trust Cave, Roy?
No, I don't. That's just me. I just never have. I don't think anybody trusts her. And knowing that she's got some big, deep, dark secret that Scarlett told us about, that just makes it even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely know for me, like in the first time when we go and talk with Destiny's Edge, and as soon as you talk to him about the egg, she started following me. I was like, what are you doing? Like I was trying to interact with her, like, why are you following me? She's like, oh, don't worry. I'm like, well, then take 20 steps back. Like, shoo, get away. Like, so I definitely did see it coming, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's kind of allowing the community to be like, you do have this part right. Now, do we have the rest of it right? We don't know. I mean, hopefully. But
yeah.
Another complaint that there was out there was the rewards, and people aren't really happy about them. And there has been changes from what they did last patch with this patch. So what do you guys think? Roy, do you want to start that one off?
Yeah, I thought the rewards were fine. I didn't, I had to be honest, I didn't read any of the posts on the reward system and what they did with it this time. So I'm, kind of a little out of it. But I mean, hell, I'm trying to think. By the time I got done, I want to say I must have had about 5 or 6 bags, and at least one champ bag. So I don't see, yeah, it's all blues and greens, but what, and 1 yellow or 2 yellows, but still, I thought it was a decent amount. You had plenty of sand and silky sand. What more do you want? Silky sand is awesome.
That's all I want. Give it to me.
Aaron, how do you feel about the rewards? I know last patch you kind of really got into that farming before they nerfed it. So.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's really the reason why I think people were kind of disappointed with the rewards, because there wasn't a broken farm in this patch. So you couldn't just come into this.
Come on.
And farm it and make hundreds of gold in a day. Now, what I think people are disappointed with is the open world labyrinth rewards as opposed to the story rewards. The story rewards are actually better than they were before because you get a guaranteed Black Lion key per character for completing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which is a huge deal. So yeah. I was thoroughly pleased with that. I've done it 3 or 4 times now just for that key. But the labyrinth rewards, you have to work a little more for them. They're not as accessible as the bandit loot chests where you actually have to play a mini game and you have to build up things to craft more things to do stuff. Like I think you have to collect these little spores to combine with a bandit key to make a bigger key to a chest in the middle of the labyrinth. And that's like kind of the ultimate goal. And you need 25 of these spores to build this key. So people were kind of like, oh, I have to get so much stuff. It's really not that bad, but it's not as highly rewarding as, spam farming bandit chests was. So that's really what I think people are disappointed with. But the Black Lion key, man, so good. So good.
Yeah, I forgot about the Black Lion key.
I was going to say, it's an interesting trade-off because last patch, you could run alts through and get the armor boxes for the what are they? They're not the luminescent. They're the prior
The carapace.
Carapace. Yeah. But this time through, you can't run an alt through it. It's tied to the achievement of finishing the story. So you can only do it once, and then you have to get, I believe, it's 1,000 bandit crests with, I believe, 1 or 2 gold to get the other 2 boxes, or luckily find them in chests while doing the events in Silver Wastes.
Luckily, it's an ugly armor set. Just throwing that out there.
Well, I like the carapace chests. I just don't like the blue. I don't like the blue gold on them, or the blue glow on them, rather.
Oh, the luminescent upgrade. Yeah, that's
luminescent upgrade. I'm not going to do that. I'll work on getting the armor set. I kind of think they're neat. They mix and match really well.
I like the shoulders.
I
like the shoulders.
Yeah, the shoulders really did do a really good job of those. I put them on 2-3 different characters, and I could go, oh, yeah, I could flip these around with some other stuff and make it look, really decent. So, as long as the armors are the same for the rest of them, I'm quite pleased with that. They can keep the blue though.
I like the system they implemented for getting the upgraded luminescent armor. I think it's a very good way to integrate gameplay with getting better equipment rather than crafting, which a lot of people find boring.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, going back to the complaints about the story, Aaron, do you want to fill us in, kind of with all the details about the story? And this is kind of where we're going to have the spoiler here, so just as a heads up.
Yeah, we will be talking. We
spoilers.
will be going over the events of the patch, so you've been warned. Okay. Yeah. So basically, the story patch begins with us meeting with original Destiny's Edge. That's Air, Zoja, Logan, Ritlock, and isn't there another one?
Well, not Ritlock.
Oh yeah, Ritlock's gone.
Yeah, Ritlock wasn't there.
Okay. Ritlock's in the mist. Yeah, and Kate. That's the one I was thinking of. Kate, of course, Kate. But so we're meeting with them at the new Pact camp. What's the name of that again?
Oh boy.
Yeah,
it was the only waypoint.
Oh, we're showing good stuff.
That's why I never Camp Resolve, wasn't it?
Camp Resolve. That's the one.
Yeah.
So we meet with them at Camp Resolve.
Don't be mad, chat.
The thing I love about this first quest in this patch is we meet with Destiny's Edge pretty much to tell them, yeah, I'm with these guys now. That's literally all we do. They're like, oh, you're here. Let's go fight dragon minions. And you're like, yeah, I have new friends. I'm going to go over here. And so you totally blow them off, which I thought was hilarious. And so then we go over
new guild is new guild.
Yeah. So then we go off.
Demand 100% rep over here.
Oh boy.
So then we go off with our Destiny's Edge 2.0 friends. That's what the community kind of calls it, is Destiny's Edge 2.0, with Casimir, Marjorie, Rox, Bram, and Timey. And we go off with them to track the Master of Peace, who's been missing since the first chapter of Living Story Season 2, pretty much. And last patch, we found out that he's actually in possession of a dragon egg, an egg of Glint, the dragon, which was a former minion of Kraukatork, for those who don't know, and the Forgotten older race turned her to. They made it so she's not under his influence anymore, and she had an egg, and the Master of Peace is in possession of it. Okay, and so he's trying to traffic this egg through the Maguma jungle to get it to safety, where he can potentially hatch it. For what reasons, we don't know. We don't know the Master of Peace's intentions on this, but we're after him in this patch. And eventually we go through a quest where we have to follow his trail, as it were, and we follow him through this to a cave. And it's very dark inside. There's a lot of good encounters in there. And then we come to a boss, which is a really good boss fight. Did you guys like the Terragriff boss fight? I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
It was decent. The mechanics on it were way different than what was going on. Again, like I said, I soloed that, so it was doable. It made me work for it, though. So it was, I liked it. It was a good deal.
Yeah. And so you defeat this boss. It actually kills the Master of Sun, I think it is. Basically, there's 3 aspect masters, and from the Zephyrites, who are the people the Master of Peace is the leader of. And he's kind of their boss, so they're looking for him. And we're following them in the search for him. And this Terragriff boss. It's like a big dragon-esque type minion, but not quite a dragon. It's a lot smaller. It kills the Master of Sun, so the Master of Lightning and the Master of Wind, the other two aspect masters, stay behind and I think the Master of Lightning gets hurt also. Either the Master of Lightning or the Master of Wind.
Hurt a little bit, then he basically can walk it off.
Yeah, and so they stay behind to kind of sort things out there, and basically the story leads into you're the only ones looking for the Master of Peace now. So we follow his trail down into the labyrinth underneath the Silver Wastes, and it's a pretty cool zone. I personally was kind of irked by it because it's so dark and so windy, but all in all, it's a solid design choice for a zone, and it's not actually a labyrinth as many people have pointed out. It's got multiple paths, splitting paths, but you basically go through here and you're trying to look for the Master of Peace. There's a wolf that follows you. You can kill it. It's fairly easy to kill. You get to the center where the Master of Peace is after regrouping with all your companions, and you kill a boss. It was a much less interesting fight, I thought, than the Terragriff boss. It was a pretty disappointing fight, actually. And then you find the Master of Peace, and he's got the dragon egg with him, but he's hurt. He's dying. So as he dies, Kaith, who is with you, jumps over him, steals the dragon egg, and says, "Sorry, guys, no time to explain," and Shadow steps away. Basically, she stealths off. You can't follow her. So now Kaith has stolen this dragon egg that's kind of the all-important focus of Season 2 so far. And it's basically the community doesn't know why. Kaith's motives are completely ambiguous, and that's kind of the cliffhanger we've been left with at the end of this patch.
Which actually brings us up to a segment that we want to try out, which is, of course, tinfoil or table flip. Basically, we want to quickly rate what the past patch was as a whole. Story, open world content, achievements, whatnot. And basically go with, do you think it's worthy of tinfoil? Like, you want to see it expanded upon and talked about more, explored more, maybe mechanics explored more? Or table flip, that like complete rage, just get rid of it as fast as possible? Royby, what's your opinion on the patch as a whole and Kaith stealing the egg?
Overall patch as a whole, I really enjoyed it. I table flipped, like I said, over the ending of it. I'm like, really? Why? We don't know what's going on. That's an awesome way to leave it. I don't trust Kaith, and there's issues with the Sylvari, so that's the thing. Overall, I so want them to keep expanding on this. I think this is fantastic. The whole idea of what we can do as far as discussions and what's going to happen next. Where is she going with that egg? Why? Who's she bringing it to? She's bringing it to somebody. Is it somebody we trust to have her bring it to? There's all sorts of stuff you can do with tinfoil on this. It's just, to me, it's wide open. Like I said, my only table flip was, really, you're going to steal it out from under us. Why don't you just say, I need this, I got to go. Take 2 seconds and explain what's going on. Otherwise, that's it.
Aaron, how do you feel about the patch as a whole? Tinfoil or a table flip?
Okay, I gotta go with tinfoil on this one. I think this has a myriad of possibilities that we could theorize about for hours, which we probably will later in Mumble while we're playing the game. But let's examine for briefly the table flip argument. People who may not be as familiar with the story of the game, or maybe they don't care as much about the story, might table flip over this because they're just like, why? Why would this character who's supposed to be our friend do that? That's so stupid. She's a good guy. Basically, it's kind of a limited perspective on storytelling that would cause you to table flip on this. So my verdict has to be tinfoil. It's too intriguing to get me angry over.
Yeah, I definitely am going to say tinfoil. I would love to see where this story goes and the possibilities. I mean, I see people in chats guessing maybe Kaith is going to use the egg to help heal the pale tree. I mean, the only thing we know about the next patch is we're going to go talk to the pale tree. Hopefully they don't write it in as Hopefully they don't write it in as like an RPG of like, as you're marching along, you get a random attack and you never make it there. So hopefully we can fast travel there.
Dude, I love random attacks. What are you talking about? They're great.
But with, every update, they add things to the gem store. And first up is the Jungle Explorer outfit. What are people's opinions on that, Aaron?
Okay, so I think out of the 3 people here, I was the only one that actually purchased this outfit. I had some... I've been building up gems over the last few weeks, getting some with gold, whatever. So I was like, I like the outfit. What the hell? I'll buy it. So I bought it, and I thoroughly enjoy it, except for the hat. The hat is super dumb. But luckily the wardrobe, actually I think this was pre-wardrobe, they've always had this, the game's always had a hide helmet feature, and that works for outfits. Yep. So I can wear the outfit without the hat. So overall, I'm really happy with it. One thing I wanted to mention is it reminds me a lot of like a Tomb Raider or Uncharted, those games type outfit that you'd have on like a professional adventurer or something like that. And so that really appealed to me, and that's kind of why I bought it.
Royby, your thoughts about the outfit?
These outfits are the ones that were data mined, and they look like the Confederate. Correct. Yeah, I liked them. I thought they were going to look really cool. Whether you like this part or that part, I thought they actually were going to go for the French Foreign Legion look, Confederate Army look, whatever you want to call it, Jonathan and that. But yeah, I thought they were decent. I don't have an interest in buying them, but they look good. I don't think they're going to hurt anybody's immersion. They fit in with the story, with the location. So yeah, they're cool to me.
Yeah, personally, I think when I looked at them earlier, I was like, without the hat, you're like, oh look, Indiana Jones lost his hat. With the hat, you're like, oh look, one of the extras in Indiana Jones that dies. Like, it's just, I don't know, I don't gravitate towards it as much. Like it just seems like with the hat, it's an extra, but like an extra in a movie. But yeah, I definitely like it for what it is, and I think I say that a lot on stuff like that. It's just, in a game like this, you kind of have your character set in stone. You don't want to change them. No one likes change, right? That's how it goes.
Yeah, just to kind of expound on what you just said, I haven't put it on yet. I don't wear it, but I was like, that's cool, I'm buying it. I have it just in case.
You're a shopaholic. I'm just...
Yes.
But I mean, if you're a shopaholic, they also brought in Pack Fleet weapon set. Roy, I think we have a couple images, but Roy, what do you think overall? We can throw up there.
Overall, I liked them. I thought they were pretty cool looking. I've got some head nods and shaking going on over here.
You can definitely see the great sword right now.
Yeah, that's the great sword. I like the idea of the opalescence of it. I'm kind of an opal fan, so the look of it's fine. The animations are kind of neat. I'll let Aaron take over from there because he's got his definite opinions on this.
Okay, so I hate most of these. And the reason mainly is the stupid little mechanical wings that flap like they're a cheap Walmart toy. I think those are really stupid. Some of the skins don't have them. Like, I really like the staff, and I think the scepter looked okay. I don't remember if that had wings on it or not. The torch was pretty cool because, yeah, you brought up the torch just now. I don't like the spinning so much, but it has a different colored flame, which is something I'm a sucker for in torches. I have the purple tormented torch on my ranger because I was like, it's purple, I have to have it. But yeah, I don't really care for the set overall. It's just, it's the same. I have the same issue with Frostfang. It's got this cheesy mechanical mouth on it, and it flaps like a cheap toy. I hate it.
And honestly, if you want to look at more of those images, we only grabbed 2 that were kind of representative. Go over to Dolphy.net. She has the whole gallery there, along with those 2 images we showed. Quickly, let's talk about they also added finishers, which was pretty interesting. Because they have a special thing with it. There are 3 finishers they added. I think it's China, EU, and NA finishers. And if you buy those before a certain date, which I think is the finals for their PvP tournament, if you got the winning team one, you, I believe, get 3 celebration boosters. Quick, like, how do you guys feel about that? it's basically kind of placing your bets. Granted, you could bet for all three.
Yeah, I basically I don't see that as a bet. You just buying all three and get get your prize for it. I mean, that's basically what's going to happen with that. So, yeah,
I'm
not a big finisher purchaser, so it doesn't make that big of a difference. But there's no big benefit to getting the win on that. So,
well, I mean, you're saying you're not a big finisher person now, but I mean, the next thing up is they're bringing PvP changes.
The PvP.
Yeah,
some of those changes are nice. I'm kind of looking at them. There are some good changes in that.
It seems like so far they've announced that they're breaking into 3 categories. I think one's practice, which is the hot join that they had. I forget the other one, what the name was, but I think it was just kind of more of a fun play thing. And then actually competing for, I guess, the tournament rankings. And they also said that they were working on a better system for matchmaking, which now rabbit rank people, which is like the beginning rank that you get automatically, aren't going to go up against the dragon rank people, which is the top tier final, have played PvP since launch type thing, compared to the people that are like, I'm going in to fight people. Oh, and someone in chat says the other one was play. So I think that one's just kind of like a fun get-together type thing. So
nice.
Right.
But yeah, do you think these changes are going to... Yeah, do you think these changes are going to intrigue you guys to maybe
I'll
jump
take a look at it again. I'm not I've played some PvP. Like I said, I got my rabbit rank. I played 5 or 10 rounds. So I liked it. I'm not a big PvP person. That's just the way I like to play. To have to pay so much attention to everybody's skills on the other side of the playing field and have a counter for it and all. Yeah, I can do that, but God, it's just, to me, it gets to be too much like work. And if I can go in and enjoy it, like if they've got a play section where we can just go in and go, hey, let's mess around here for a couple hours. Hey, I'm in. If I don't want to be the person to hold back the team by kind of losing focus on what we're doing and getting bored or not feeling like doing something at that time. That's why I just don't PvP for the most part. I lose interest halfway through a match. That's just me.
Well, and there is like the practice and the play option. So yeah, you can definitely kind of go in and just goof off and have fun. Aaron, what are your thoughts?
The nice thing about the nice thing about the practice session is that you can check your builds. Yeah. And not get in the way of anybody. There's some really nice functionality going into this.
Aaron, what are your thoughts of the new PvP changes, and are you intrigued to maybe go in there more?
No, I don't PvP. I'm a PvE fairy through and through. I don't even touch PvP. They could say you get a free legendary for doing 10 matches. I wouldn't go in. So no.
What about
I'm a PvP layman? What was that, Dale?
What about 2 free legendaries? Your choice. Come on.
Maybe for 2. Maybe for 2.
Maybe for 2. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Everybody has a price.
Well, I think they did that for the one tournament early on. You got legendaries for. Oh, okay.
I can't win. Are you crazy?
Which actually they talk about is they're going to do a practice tournament for, I believe it's a month, and I believe if you're in the top 25. Everybody in there gets it's the llama finisher or the mini pet. I know it's something llama based.
Probably the llama mini pet, since you can buy the finisher on the gem store.
Maybe.
The llama mini pets are something they've been giving away as like exclusive prizes. Because that's the only way to get them, so they're like super rare.
And I think even top more get like a piece of that PvP specific armor. So definitely, if you're interested or even interested after these changes, go check them out on the Guild Wars 2's main site. And if you're interested, try it. I mean, worst comes to worst, you're not gonna get that stuff, but you're gonna probably get stuff along the way. So can't hurt.
Yeah.
Also, interestingly, talking about changes with PvP, there might be changes to the game as a whole. ArenaNet is trying, or has actually, I think at this moment, hired an engine programmer. Which, Roy, do you want to talk a little bit more about that and maybe what it is?
Yeah. Basically, an engine programmer is somebody that works on the base level of the game. That's the part that the game runs off of. It's where all the programming magic happens for setting up the events and calls and that sort of thing. Is it going to change for the general game? I don't think that's their focus on this hire. If you read through the advert for the hire, they were looking for somebody who had console experience, PS3, PS4, Wii, all 360, 360 Live, all the big name consoles. I'm thinking that when the game came out, some of the changes they made back before beta and in beta were to allow for controller use, were to allow for consoles to have a functional way to play. I think this is their opening bid to move this onto other platforms. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference to the PC. I think I don't see where that would make a huge difference. But the fact that they're going to try to introduce console players to this game, I think, is interesting. I wonder how well they can. My question to this will come in: do they keep it specific to each let's say they sell 4 or 5 million copies to 360 people. Can the 360 people play with just themselves, or can they get into the same game that we get, and play with us? That's, to me, is going to be the more interesting problem that I want to see. Most times when they do these kind of changes or they add this kind of functionality to a game, the games stay separate. So you only get a 360, you get a 360 copy, only 360 people can play with it. Same thing for PS3, PS4. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad to see they're moving on with that idea. I don't think it's anything to rage over. I think there might be some tinfoil moments to this, but to be honest, I think it's healthy for the game. More people play it, more money for the developers and the publishers.
I mean, possibly, do you even think we might see it on our consoles? Because, we talked about last week, they said sales weren't that great for the China release. I don't know how far the China release extends. I don't know if it extends into Japan or, countries surrounding that area. Like, how they had the EU release, the NA release. I don't know how far that expands.
I think China stayed within China. I don't think there was any. Because
I was gonna say, I know
marketing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I know Japan tends to have like consoles that don't make it out there. I thought that maybe this was a way for them to possibly get more money from that investment of the China release. So
it might be. All the major consoles are looking. That's what they're advertising for in the ad. So yeah, I can see where they. I don't think if it's an off-brand kind of thing that if it's one of the big 4 or 5 in the system, yeah, that'll help. Now we've got players from Japan in the Guild Wars 2 guild at GameBreaker.com. So that's been released in those countries ahead of time. It's already in. We know it's in Japan. We know it's in South Korea. So China was a specific release through a specific publisher for that market in the geographical area. So yeah, that's just the way that is. As far as the just getting back to the consoles though, I don't think they're going to go way out in left field and pick out some console that is only played by 100,000 people. They'll pick the top 3 or 4 consoles that are out and might come out in the next year or so, and probably develop for that.
Okay. Aaron, do you have any thoughts to add for the engine programmer possibilities?
Yeah, just China's China because of the way their government policies are over there. That's why they have to have a separate release there. But as far as what you were saying about the game being exclusive to each console and having it being a separate client for each console, they got to go that way because of the controls. PC controls will always be superior to console controls. It's faster and there's more buttons. So the PvP would be incredibly imbalanced in favor of PC. So they would have to have the games be on different clients so that PC players wouldn't have that advantage over the console players if they were in the same client. I don't play consoles, so...
Well, I mean, and you got to take into account that I believe when it was ramping up Guild Wars 2, people did ask, are you putting this on consoles? They never ruled it out. They just said it wasn't going to be a plan for release.
Basically, they said potentially, yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, granted, they say that for everything. Every developer says that for everything. But, you know, excited to see
and
what
progresses. And the fact that they had actually, that they specifically advertised this for somebody who did consoles, it just tells me right there they're looking at moving this into consoles. I know Manifabel in the chat was like, no, it's going to be PC only. If it was going to be PC only, I don't see why they would advertise this job for consoles. You know, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for 5 years experience in console development. I can't see wanting to, you know, bring somebody on and pay somebody that much money to not develop it for that for that market. It might just be exploratory. You know, they might go, hey, let's see if we can even do this. I think it's in the code to do it already because they didn't rule it out. I think they've got the hooks and stuff they need in there to do it. It's going to happen. I just want to see if it's, you know, of course servers can play or if it's going to be separated.
And actually, of more recent, we're going to move on to Guild Wars 2's ArenaNet's official podcast of Points of Interest. They gave us a teaser image Friday. And that image shows what looks like an early Kaith and Fallon. And for people that don't know, Kaith, I mean, we talked about it earlier. She is part of Destiny's Edge. She was in the book. She's kind of the focus. I don't want to say mentor because I don't think they're your mentors in that, are they? For each race?
But like, yes and no.
They're kind of the big deal, kind of like aspire to be them.
Yes.
And Fallon was her girlfriend. But Fallon joined the Nightmare Corps, which is the opposing force for the Sylvari race. Just like Asuran. Yeah, just like the Asuran have the Inquest, Char have the Flame Legion, so on and so forth. But it shows in there that you see Kaith and Fallon in front of an Asuran and a Golem in an Asuran lab. Some people are speculating that it looks like the one in Metrica Province. Granted, I mean, that's a safe assumption because there are a lot of labs there.
I was going to say, there's like 10 labs there.
But the one thing that people are a little iffy on is Kaith's hair is a little bit different, and I believe her armor is not tier 3, it's tier 2, in fact, which we've kind of been playing around with a little bit of a theory. Granted, this is like 1 day in the making, so, you know, give us a little bit of leeway here, but I think Aaron wants to talk more about that.
Well, okay, so first of all, I don't think they confirmed that this is Kaith and Fallon, did they?
No, I don't believe so. But
it's
just a lot of people.
It's pretty clear that it is. So, but Kaith does have different hair. She does have different armor. So, what we're kind of playing around with earlier this week is what if this is? I mean, we had visions of the past earlier in this Living World release, you know, with Echoes of the Past. So this could be a look into the past of Kaith and Fallon. Now, at the end of this most recent patch, we're actually stating that we're on our way to go see the Pale Tree to ask her about Kaith, like, why did Kaith take the egg? I think this could potentially be a vision the Pale Tree shows us of Kaith's past, and it could have something to do with the secret that Scarlet had on Kaith that she never lived to impart to us. So whether it's going to be just a cutscene or a playable instance, I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking, is that it's something to do with Kaith's past, a cutscene or a playable instance about her past.
Roy, what are your opinions on this teaser image that they've so kindly given to us?
Totally confused. I'll be the first to admit it. I looked at this and I got no clue. I have no idea where they're going. If it's something from the past, that's fine. You know, we know we got a Deep Dark Secret to come out. It's got to come out someday. You know, about Kaith. I look at this picture, and the more I look at it, I'm not sure if it is. I kind of agree. I'm not sure if it is Kaith or not. She's boasting 2 daggers, but she's also got a great sword on her.
Doesn't
it looks
have
like
a great
there might
sword.
be something in the background.
It's a light in the background. It's a light in the background.
Oh, it's a light in the background. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I don't know where they're going with it. We can't tell who the Asuran is. There's just it's an interesting shot, but I can't hazard a guess.
Well, you're making me second guess. I know when Aaron was talking, it was making me second guess the whole Kaith concept, because he's like, we all know it's Kaith. I mean, granted, it doesn't have the same hair, doesn't look like her. I mean, but we know it's Kaith, right? We're all on the same page.
It's if we had to guess, I think it's most likely that it's Kaith.
Well, I mean, I'd love to hear people's opinions in chat, but I definitely am. I'm teased. I'm ready for the next.
I'm ready to see the answer to it, but I can't even begin to. This is one of those times all we could do is go, okay.
Yeah. That looks fantastic. Exactly. I cannot wait.
I cannot wait.
But also with the community pulling together, I think it was Wooden Potatoes, that shaman, and the community as a whole actually came up, and in the previous patch we had a map on the floor of the Priory warehouse, but it had the new Crichton language for the locations. And with the help of the community, people have kind of deciphered it. And I think that shaman has kind of cleaned up the look of it, and we have an image for you that you can see. It's probably going to be a little hard to see on the stream, but definitely if you go onto Reddit and look for that shaman, he has a full gallery. You can kind of zoom in. I mean, for our people, what do you want to? What places on that map do you want to see? Like, what do you want to go to? Places that we have been, places that we haven't been.
Okay, so I want to go to these places, but like the places that we've never seen on the map before, but not yet. I want to go to the rest of Tyria that's currently on our map that hasn't been uncovered first, and then I want to go to Alona, and then I want to go to Cantha. After we go to those 3 places thoroughly, I would be happy to branch out to the rest of the Tyrian globe, but those areas just aren't pertinent to the lore right now, and I want to follow the story. I want to go to the places pertinent to the story and the places that already have stories told about them and that need expounding upon. So I'm not really taking this map as fact yet, because first of all, the locations are subject to change. We've got 4 islands that are named after devs. Who knows if they'll keep those names or not. We got a place called Not Real, which is I think it's kind of a jibe by the devs that's like, hey guys, come on. It's like, good job, but this is all subject to change. So I'd really like to go to the places we can already see in game that aren't uncovered yet first. That's what I want to go to.
Yeah.
Though, and looking at almost regular maps of the world, maybe those developer names, maybe they actually put those in as characters. I mean, and they were the ones that discovered it, or.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, yeah, these names can change. So have names for places in the world itself. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. It's actually a nice clean map of the world. That to me is 100% more than what we've had in the past. Everything we've taken from, screen grabs. We've played with the globe in the whispers. All these places that have had pictures of the map. Now we actually have something that we could throw longitude and latitude on it. It's actually that. It seems to be that clean and that good. You can probably even project that it's a Mercator map. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do with this as just as a map person. I like the fact that a cartographer, as it was, yes. A lot of the stuff is just place-held in names. We've got wetlands, we've got arid, we've got icy tundra, furious stretch. All these kind of things that say there's something there to play with when the devs want to open it up. I agree with Aaron. I would rather see the rest of Tyria that we knew in Guild Wars 1 and then move to Alona, then move to Cantha, or vice versa, see Cantha, then Alona. Either way, and see the places we've been. Bring those back to life, show us those places, give us the stories for them. And then, at the end of the time, we've got that. Now we can go through and expand into different areas that we don't have. I miss certain, I go into Guild Wars 1 and it's like, man, I wish they would open up this map. There's places in, Vabby or, some of the places in Alona, I just go through and it's like, man, this is so pretty here. I wonder what this would look like in Guild Wars 2. So, yeah, I kind of agree with Aaron on that. I do like the idea of opening everything up first. And
go ahead.
Some of it looks really interesting for ports and stuff like that, because there's a lot of water. I kind of like the idea that they show the unending ocean is actually unending if you go in one direction. If you travel from northwest to southeast, you're pretty much on an unending ocean.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I kind of like that too.
I'm going to agree with chat and kind of say, and I don't know if it's biased because I love Norn. I want to go Icy Tundra, go north. I want to see, see what's up there. I love, what is it? Wayfarer Foothills. Like on a Norn, just going over a hill with the snow blowing in your face. I start to get chills. I love it. I want more of that. So hopefully we're like, yeah, don't worry about Kralkatork. Let's go fight Jormungandr.
On a mount, right? On a mount, right?
Yeah. Oh, I don't want that to be my thing. No.
Okay, someone in chat, I have to bring this up. Someone in chat just said, what would make me want to play this game? It's awesome. It's great.
To each their own. If you enjoy a game, play it, definitely. But
GameBreaker Nation might want to make you play this game. So go over to GameBreakerNation.com and sign up. You can play with us.
That is a good point. Well, let's not have that being the sell point. You can play with us. Yeah.
He's already walking away. He walked off the show. He's like, well, that's a deal breaker.
Well, that was a table flip right there.
But definitely, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there. Like you guys said, not real. Is that a legitimate name? I'd
love to see how they worked it in if it was.
Yeah, it's. And what do you guys kind of touched upon it? Like, I think it has to make sense. I definitely think maybe Crystal Desert might be the next thing because they've kind of hinted at Kralkatork.
Please.
But what do you kind of think the order is going to be? It seems like we're going Maguma Waste. Do you think then we're going to go to the Crystal Desert, maybe then north, or?
No, I think we're going to go to Crystal Desert after this. It's just tied too close to Glint. If they're following the Glint storyline, we're going to return to her, to that original part of the map. The problem you face when you get out there, of course, is going to be the bleed over from Alona with the help me with the name.
The Desolation.
The undead. Yeah, Desolation and Palawa Joko.
I'll keep guessing until I get it.
Yeah, just keep guessing. That's gonna be probably where they're either going to put an invisible wall where we can't get to that content, or they're going to expand and move us into Alona that way.
Yeah.
I think that's the amount of sense that everything makes. That unfortunately leaves the Norn homelands and the Char homelands still uncovered and hidden. So, that's kind of going to be the trade-off. If we want to go that direction and north, then we need to see story that's leading us in that direction. Right now, the story's taking us to the Crystal Desert. If we go to the Crystal Desert, then we're going to go to Alona.
And I see people in chat like speculating on the not real concept, and that's the one thing I was thinking of. We do have mesmers in here that are illusionary. They can create illusionary things. What if this is like a land that's only mesmer people, like that only specialize in that profession of being a mesmer, and maybe the guy that discovered it was just like, I have no idea what's real or fake here.
Kind of like the realms of the gods, but the realms of the professions rather.
Maybe. We don't know how. It's interesting that a lot of the stuff that happens is happening in that small chunk of an area. Why are all the dragons populating here? Why are all the gods here?
I've had, yeah.
So
how
does that?
Now that we know about the globe.
Yeah, so how does all that
We've
magic...
got this huge map. Why is all this magic concentrated right here? Why,
exactly.
Special.
We're special.
Well, until we see that land of all mesmers, and then we're not so special. They'll reflect our specialness.
Nobody
back.
plays mesmers.
Oh.
Ooh,
Oh,
zing to mesmers.
oh my.
That
I
is-
did not say that. I've said a lot of
fighting
things.
words.
But I didn't say
That is Aaron that you want to point your hate at. That is
Yes,
Aaron.
you want to, Aaron is the one you want to talk to on that.
Send your hate mail to aformermonk@gmail.com. I'll happily receive it.
He'll be happy to delete it
Or-
without even looking at it.
Or you can send in questions that oppose these ideas to #GBN Live.
Yes, you can.
And just so happens we have a Twitter question. And it is it better to play the most efficient way, which is some people think the meta Berserker, or any other way you want to play? Does that divide the community? I would definitely love to hear your guys' thoughts. Roy, do you want to start that off?
I just had a really interesting find in the forums today related to this. Somebody was, they were talking about rezzing people and whether you should res them or not. And one of the biggest complaints was it takes too long to res. And my answer to, or my question to them was, that's if you play a mesmer, that's if you play a Berserker meta. If you actually spec for health and healing, you can bring people up really quickly. And I'm starting to wonder if we're starting to hear the grumblings of a change to the meta in these large events where people are actually having trouble staying up on their feet and they're going down. Are we going to, as a community, I'm wondering if somebody's going to start realizing, hey, wait a minute. If we can bring these people back up faster, it actually helps our DPS out overall. So if they're going to maintain the DPS idea that that's the meta, then hey, you might start seeing some people start speccing a little more into health and healing to res people faster, to keep things going and not have to wait for them to come back and do that kind of an issue. So do I want to see it change? Yeah, I think this game is so much better when you have a group of people that don't play the meta, and it's so much more fun and so many more things happen, and people that know their builds better than trying to follow what everybody else is doing. Actually, it makes for a more interesting run. I like it. So yeah, I hope the meta does change, and I hope we're starting to see some of that talk.
Aaron, what are your opinions on Berserk or not Berserk? That is the question.
Okay, so I have one token Zerk character just in case I happen to be running with a group of people who are like, hey, we really like you to Zerk. And I might do it. But all my other characters I run various builds on. I like to jump around build-wise. Probably my favorite gear set is Knights, actually. I really like Knights gear set. I run it on both of my heavy characters. But I really think what people forget when they're trying to play the game efficiently is fun. Well, if you're not having fun, then why? Why game? So I don't have fun playing Berserkers. I think it's boring and stale. So that's why I play other specs, because I'm trying to have fun when I'm playing this game. If I'm not having fun, then I'm wasting my time. So
and I will say he really does enjoy glue shot.
Glue shot is the most unmeta skill there is in the game, and by God, do I enjoy it. Another thing with me is I base my character's builds off what I like the look of aesthetically, which is very unpopular and people flame me for it sometimes. But like I just recently switched to Sword Shield on my Guardian because I really like the way it looks, and I build my build around that. I'm like, okay, I like Sword Shield look. I'm going to go with this. Now let's see what I can do with it. That's how I build my characters on my account. Because a lot of the joy of the game for me comes from having my character look just the way I want it to. So not to Zerk is my stance on that. Unless you enjoy it. If you thoroughly enjoy Zerking, then Zerk away.
And I think, personally, I don't Zerk and Berserker is basically the most efficient because since we don't have the Holy Trinity, Berserker gear is power, precision, and now it's ferocity, which replaced the critical. Was it critical
Crit
chance
damage.
or crit damage? Okay. So basically, you use your dodges more effectively, and it's you get their health down before they get all your health down, and that's basically how it works.
I mean, it's just a DPS race.
Yeah, which I mean, for me, that's fine if someone wants to be run Berserker gear, as long as if they're running a pug group, they are open about it, like a Berserker group, whatever. I hate when someone pops in and it might be like a new player to the game. They might not know any better, and they're like, oh, link your gear, or even go, you're like level 65. This is level 80. Which if you look at the maps, not all explorable dungeons are 80.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but a lot of people only take 80s, even on Ascalon
Yes.
Catacombs. They're like 80s only.
Yeah.
which I would say to those meta people, learn to play, noob. I mean, you have to take.
His name is
Deo, calling out the meta.
And all male to
You have to take an 80 to downscale it. I mean,
I love it.
I know I'm bad. I mean,
Ooh.
I can admit it. I'm fine with it.
And
I'm
just,
boy.
just kind of my last quick thought on Berserker. It only works in a group of 5. If you don't have a full group of Berserkers, it's not going to work. You have to. It's all or nothing with the Berserker meta. So I like doing things with people however they're running. So that's why I don't really care for it.
Uh-oh. The internet thought you were me.
An emergency.
But
I don't know.
I mean, my
Sorry
stance
about that.
is, play the way you want to. That's one of their mottos. But definitely make it clear if you're pugging. I mean, if you're in a guild group, I would hope you guys would all be on the same page. I mean, you're in a guild. You probably planned this out. But I mean, it's just what I think it's based on what the player wants, and definitely specify it. If you're in there, it's a couple more keystrokes of saying, "Hey, this is a Zerker group only."
Yeah, I mean, I understand where the Zerker's coming from on it. I mean, I understand it. It actually does take skill to make it work. You've got to be able to dodge. You've got to be able to mitigate your damage. And it is the fastest way to do a speed run, the fastest way to do anything. I just prefer, does it split the community? I don't know.
It does. It does.
It does in a way, because if anybody's looking to do something, you don't need Zerker to run a dungeon. You don't have to follow that meta. It just takes longer. You might have a couple times where somebody goes down, or it just depends on what you're looking for to do something, and to completely forego something because you're wanting to do a speed run, that's fine. If you're not advertising that you're doing a speed run and all of a sudden you are, don't see where that's really fair. And
like
that
ethics,
goes back to what
just
Dale was saying.
disclose it.
Yeah, just
It's an
disclose
ethical
it ahead
issue.
of time and move on. Yeah,
And I do see chat raging because I did say learn to play, noob, which was a joke. I mean, and like I said, my stance is I have ran speed runs, and there's times where it's like, I'm fine with running a speed run if I want to be that intensely involved. But sometimes it's like I'm coming home from work or something, I just want to hop in with a group of friends, and that's where I preferably don't want to see, you must have this set of gear. I just want to play and laugh with some people. Be like, oh, hey, look, that guy came out of the side of the wall and just like one shot you. Ha ha ha. Like,
Yeah.
and like I said, I do respect the people. I just say clarify it. Don't just say AC path 3 and say you don't have the gear you need. And I do see people, definitely if the person's like under level for the dungeon, that's where it can be an issue and make it harder. But like, I think it's like AC explorables are like start at like 35, whereas the AC story is 30. So.
And I almost always see people AC Path 1, 80s only, XP, stuff like that. And you don't need it.
Which, I mean, you get downscaled.
Yeah.
Which
You'll
is
run AC on white gear with a level 50 and you'll be fine.
You could try that.
If you have the time.
But yeah, basically with the learn to play noob comment, we're the noobs, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, we totally admit we are not hardcore. We are noobs. We are casual. So, take it for what it's worth. By the way, we are the community.
But we have a load of fun doing it.
Yeah, it's all about the fun, at least for us.
But I mean, if we'll still continue with this idea, but with our little bit of remaining time left, we'll take maybe 1 or 2 questions in chat. So definitely be quick with it. But yeah, Berserker build. I mean, I definitely think with the living story, we were talking quickly about it with the meta. That people,
I think it's changing. I think people are realizing it has to change.
Well, with the living world content, I remember the story, how it just, the day 1 of the new season, people were like, this is so hard. It's because they gave things retaliation. And basically, you were hurting yourself.
Yep.
But you didn't have any defenses for it.
Yeah, my tanky characters really came in handy for that, definitely.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that they changed on this is they actually made conditions something of a big part of the mobs. Everything you do in this map has conditions attached to it that you're getting hit with. If you don't have a condi clear on, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And I forget sometimes. I've been playing in one set of the map. I've got one set, and I go in there, and I'm like, I've faced tank anyways with just about everything. I'll go in there, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm on the ground. I'm like, what the hell? Oh yeah, right.
Roy is a face Riley.
Yeah, it just doesn't work that way. So you got to kind of back up a little bit, change.
Yeah, I love him for Daily Reviver. I mean, when that rolls around.
Yeah, anytime there's Daily Reviver, I'm right there for you. Just revive away. And we're still waiting on questions. Everybody's quiet in chat now.
We scared them away. I'm sorry. Like I said, hey, if you ever need Daily Reviver, just join a group with us. We'll get you those revives.
There you go. If I'm on there, we will.
Yeah, he's a melee. He's a melee elementalist, but not a tank.
Manabel has a question. How would you like to see the stats change to have an impact on what build you run? Being more vitality, faster endurance regen, that sort of thing.
I mean, specifically with the vitality and endurance thing, granted, we haven't really seen too much of that yet, but as we were stating, Silver Wastes have touched upon it, where I think some mobs have, tough bark, which...
Yeah, the husks are a pain to kill.
Yeah,
Condi is actually better for killing husks than Zerk is. You'll kill it faster with a Condi character.
Royby, what are your thoughts about?
Well, I'm thinking they're looking more at personal stats. So if let's say they nerf power. I'm an Ellie. Let's say they change power up in some way, and it makes it so I've got to look at maybe doing more regen through health and vitality. That's kind of interesting. I like that idea a lot. Change the base, change those base numbers, see how it works out. And then, again, doing that will change the meta, because you're not going to be able to put as much into power to DPS. So, yeah, I can see where that I'd be okay with that. Call it a nerf, call it a change, whatever. It would definitely change up the game a lot.
Yeah, I definitely want to see what they have planned and up their sleeve for really adding more to these, not just Berserker builds, because I mean we are getting, Sinisters with this most recent one, and what was the one in Nomads, and that one was really more of a tanky one.
Yeah, so, that was full tank. That was the first full tank set they've released.
I mean, hopefully they're gonna start addressing certain mechanics that require maybe a one-shot thing.
I'd love to see them nerf healing skills. So if you have no healing power, your heal skill heals for 1,000 health at level 80. I'd love to see that. That's really all I want them to do. I think it would change up the game nicely.
So I think all in all, we definitely want to see what ArenaNet has up their sleeves, because it seems like they're putting these in play. It's just we have nothing to use them on yet, which tends to, everybody's sitting here waiting like, well, what do we use these for? So I'm definitely excited to see what they're going to do with that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think on that note, we're going to have to wrap up here. I would like to thank all the guests today.
Thank you, sir.
And
appreciate it. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Aaron, where can you be found on the internet?
Okay, so you can find my blog at aformermonk.wordpress.com. I write Guild Wars 2 stories there. There hasn't been an update for a while. It's coming, don't worry. Or at Guild Wars Monk on Twitter.
Royby, where can they find you on the internet?
They can find me at Schadenfreude on YouTube, Schadenfreude Productions, as well as at GameBreakerNation.com.
And you can find me at simply_Deo on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. I'm really planning on ramping up with some videos. I know, I think it was last week, I played Trove with some people. Might do a little bit more. Hopefully have hopefully have a couple ideas for like Guild Wars 2, because I'd like to do something different with that. But as always, you can find everybody here at the Guild Wars 2 Guild at GameBreakerNation.com. And if you're a little worried about, maybe Guild Wars 2 is not going to last forever, you're wrong. It's going to be here forever. We love it.
2,327. I'm still playing.
Exactly. We're here for the long run.
Yeah.
We're going to find all the continents. But we do have Final Fantasy, Elder Scrolls Online, World of Warcraft, League of Legends, Minecraft community. And those are just the ones we fully support. Like I said, I've ran with GBN people in Trove, Marvel Heroes, Diablo. The list just goes on and on. We just keep growing with members like you. So head on out, join up, join us in Mumble, and we will see you in the game.
Appreciate it, everybody. Have a good day.